Hey everyone, I have a really exciting podcast episode to share with y'all today. It's all about looking back at past lessons and making sure you're still on track. It can be real easy to push through and lose track of what your original goal is. Because is progress really progress if you're actually just getting distracted all the time? I find the best way to stay on track is by revisiting my goals and key lessons and making sure they still resonate with me. It's still where I want to go. That's why in this week's episode, we're revisiting 3 pieces of advice I have shared with you within the past year.
Instead of chasing what's hot, I want you to chase what is.
A $1 million decision is defined as one that I want you to really listen to what I'm saying and hold yourself accountable. Are you currently implementing these 3 lessons? Are they still relevant to you? Are you making progress towards your goal? Let me know in the comments and let's get into it.
Welcome to the Hello 7 podcast. That's 7 as in 7 figures. I'm your host, Rachel
Let's
Rodgers.
look at what a $1 million decision is. Let's look how it's defined in my book, We Should All Be Millionaires. So $1 million decisions. A $1 million decision is defined as one that creates time and energy, frees up mental space, reduces piddly shit and creates space for the stuff that matters to you, allows you to feel strong, secure, and free, creates options instead of eliminating options, right? Whereas a broke-ass decision is one that does the opposite. A broke-ass decision is one that steals your time and energy, depletes mental space, increases piddly shit, and prioritizes it above your greatest desires, makes you feel weak, insecure, and trapped, eliminates options rather than creating them. So for me in that moment, the $1 million decision was to sell rather than fight, right? I think fight is the very ego-driven option, and it is the option that like sounds good or maybe impresses other people or, I don't know, sounds right. And it's also, it used to be my default. I used to go straight to fighting, right? Like I wouldn't even consider any other option besides let's fight. But I'm glad to say that I made a wise decision here instead of the ego-driven decision. I made the $1 million decision to create options in my life and create abundance. Because what was also going on was that we had spent 3+ years in this home straight, right? Like we were just in the house for 3 years. My kids were homeschooled during that time. We never left. We worked from home. I was not traveling for work. There was very little open. And so trust me, we enjoyed that property to the fullest. And I was kind of done with it, to be totally honest. I was like, well, taking care of a large piece of property actually takes up more time than I realized. I understand why people do it in retirement because my priority was not building the farm at Rodgers Ranch. My priority is Hello 7 and my company, right? And closing the wealth gap one entrepreneur at a time. That is my mission and assignment. So this actually started to become a distraction from my main work. I also felt like my kids were bored out of their minds. Like I just felt this like, I don't know what to call it, like almost like a malaise hanging over my family where just everyone was bored, right? Like everyone wanted new things to do, new people. We wanted to be traveling again. My kids were ready to go back to school. Like in a traditional school. And trust me, there were so many pluses and so many beautiful things about homeschooling. They had an incredible experience. And I feel like what was right for them at that time was to go back to school. And, there wasn't a school in the area that we wanted to send them to. And we had been talking about moving outside of the US for years. And so I decided to actually give myself what I wanted. I was like, this is actually presenting an opportunity because I think that I've experienced this dream. And I think I'm okay with being done with this dream now and moving on to the next dream. And so I want to give you all a blanket permission that it's okay for a dream to be done, right? Like maybe you, like me, I wanted to always be a lawyer since I was 8 years old. Then I became a lawyer. I had my own law practice for 7 years and then I was done. And it's okay to put it down and be like, okay, we did that. What's next? We don't have to commit to things for the rest of our lives for them to be meaningful or for them to matter. And so you can move on from a dream. Don't feel like you are stuck doing it forever. So if you're in a career or a business or a relationship or a neighborhood or whatever that is no longer serving you, it is okay for you to move on to the next thing if that's what you're ready to do. Like follow your bliss, right? Follow your joy, follow your instincts and where they're taking you. Because when you try to force it, as I was talking about earlier, right? Like it doesn't work and you're not going to be happy that way. And so we just made the decision, right, to let it go and to move on and to not fight over something that, it checked a lot of boxes. I love the property. If I could take that property and move it to a different location, I would have kept it. There was also financial things to think about, right? Like it required a ton of upkeep. So keeping it, if we weren't going to live there full time, didn't make sense. There was just various factors that were all pointing to it's okay to move on from this now, right? And I think so many of us will be like, oh, well, you renovated the property. Oh, well, like it went viral and everyone knows that you own this property. How can you sell it now, right? We get so caught up in what are other people going to think? Oh, I've already spent this money. Oh, I've already invested this time. Oh, this was my long-term vision and I'm cutting this vision off. It's so easy for us to come up with all the reasons why we can't have what we want. And instead, I want you to come up with all the reasons why you can have what you want. And so what I wanted at that time was to live on an island near the ocean with warm weather year round. I wanted my kids to go back to school. I, just wanted to go on a new adventure. And so I decided to do that instead. So I sold the property for a profit. And so now we no longer own Rodgers Ranch, but that was a chapter in our life and it was a beautiful chapter and I loved it and it's over now, right? And it's okay for certain chapters to be over for you as well. One of the things that I wanted too was to downsize. Like I wanted less responsibility. I wanted to own less stuff. That was another feeling that I was having. So I just decided to be done with it. And it's really funny too, because I think some people online saw that I was selling the property and they would make up stories, right? Like, oh, she must be filing for bankruptcy. She must be getting divorced, right? Like whatever the most sordid, dramatic version of or reason that people could sell property is what people come up with and say. And here's what I have to say about that. Let them be wrong about you. You don't have to explain yourself to other people. You don't have to explain your decisions to people. I'm telling y'all now because I want to share it with y'all and I want to share it with my audience, but I don't feel the need to explain to people and to correct every wrong thought about me, right? So it's okay if people are saying whatever or think whatever about you for the decisions that you are making, right? I had a friend who she built a dream house for herself on the beach and then decided a few years later that she was done with that dream and ready to move on to a different stage of life. And she wanted to get ahead of it. And she said, she announced it and shared it with her audience and gave them all the details because she was like, otherwise they'll all think I'm getting divorced or something. And to that I say, let them think it. Who cares? Be free, okay? We are not subject to other people's opinions. Also, the other thing I will say too is on the internet, we love the most dramatic reason, right? Like we want to go with the most dramatic, outrageous reason, but usually it's just the most basic, obvious reason, which is that I'm just ready to sell. So we did sell the property. We made a profit from it. And we took our profits to go live on an island. And we're living our best lives. So that is what happened with the ranch. And so here are the 3 takeaways that I want you to take away from our conversation today. First of all, hold your goals and your dreams loosely. Don't hold them so tight that you squeeze the life out of them and you squeeze the life out of yourself working so hard with brute force trying to make it happen. Instead, you want flow as you accomplish your dreams, right? Instead of the intense brute force that will burn you out and wear you out and make the whole journey unpleasant. Okay, so takeaway number 1 is hold your dreams loosely. Takeaway number 2 is $1 million decisions look different for different people, right? So go back to what is abundance looking like for you right now in the phase that you're in right now, not the decision you made 3 years ago or 7 years ago, right? You don't have to stick with an old decision, right? You have new information, new experiences, you're evolving as a person. So it is okay for you to change your mind. But just make sure you think about what is $1 million decision in this situation for me? And what does that look like, okay, for me? And number 3, it's okay to change your mind, right? Feel free to change your mind and stop worrying about what other people think of you. You only get this one wild and precious life. Do not spend it worrying about what everybody else thinks or doing what you think other people want. Because let me tell you a secret. No one really cares, right? They're so busy being thinking about their own stuff, right? And being focused on their own things that they're not even thinking about you. Or even if they are, they barely are thinking about you, right? So be free and go make the decisions that make sense for you, okay? So that is the third takeaway. It's okay to change your mind.
Guess what your greatest asset is? You. Okay. You are your greatest asset, my friend. And so you need to do an assessment of this asset and find out how you can extract value from this asset. So how do you assess this asset, right? How do you figure out where the value is at in the asset that is you? The way that you do that is personality assessments. So I want you to go take the Strength Finders test. I want you to take Colby. I want you to take DISC. I want you to take Myers-Briggs, okay? You can also do Enneagram. You can also look up your astrological sign, right? Really research yourself, okay? All of these assessments are going to help you understand what your natural talents and gifts are, right? How you like to work, right? What kinds of work you are typically drawn to. They'll tell you more about your personality and how you operate and how you tend to think. That is going to help you figure out what kind of asset you can create from the asset that is you. And some of these tests are going to cost you some money. Like StrengthsFinders, last time I checked, is about $35. Spend the $35, get your full StrengthsFinders report, because it's going to give you so much data on who you are. And that data is going to help you. Now, in addition to personality tests, you could also look back at your resume, look back at your work experience, look back at your life experience. You're doing a holistic assessment, right? Where you're looking at your skills and how you like to work and your personality. And then you're also going to look at your work experience, education, right? What do you know how to do from the experiences that you have in work and school? And then you're also going to look at your life, right? Maybe you have children and so you're a parent, right? Maybe you've had a leadership role at your church. Maybe you've been divorced and so that's an experience you've had, right? So maybe you have ADHD and so you have experience operating with ADHD, right? So look at your life experience, your work experience, and then you're going to do these personality assessments and really dig in to you, right? Do a full deep dive on yourself. Okay. Now that you've done all of these assessments, what you're supposed to do with it? Well, let's move on to step 2. So in step 2, what I want you to do is notice patterns, right? When you take various different personality assessments, what's jumping out at you, right? What keeps coming up over and over again in each of these assessments? As you're looking at your work experience, what are some of the patterns you notice? What kind of work did you really enjoy and what kind of work did you hate? When you look at your life experience, what jumps out at you? What are you passionate about? What do you care about? What do you wish you never had to do, right? Just taking a look at all of that information and then notice the patterns that are there and notice what's coming up for you. And what you might discover is like, oh, I've always wanted to do this particular type of thing, or I've always been drawn to this particular type of work. So I want you to take all the information that you have and use it to come up with an offer. So you're going to take all this information and come up with a service or product that you can deliver to others using your natural talents and skills. And here's a tip. I really want you to focus the offer on your talents. Notice I'm not saying go see what industries are hot right now and create an offer around that. And there's a reason why I'm not saying that. Because typically the offers that are out there that are hot right now are not aligned with your natural skill set. And if you are trying to become a millionaire, trust me, this is not going to work. When you try to tap into a hot industry that you have no passion for, no interest in, and your work style or your talents do not align with it, what's going to happen is you're going to peter out. You're going to quit before you ever get to $1 million. So instead of chasing what's hot, I want you to chase what is exciting for you. What's hot for you, right? What are you hype about? What's the work that you would love to jump out of bed and do every single day, right? And I want you to create an offer around that. So if you notice the patterns that you are a people person, you love being with other people, you love teaching other people, you love being in front of a room full of people, you love to socialize and engage, you love connecting people, for example, then if that's what comes up over and over again, then you might think about what kind of offers could you create around connecting others or around teaching. Maybe you become a public speaker. Maybe you start your own podcast, right? And that's something that you would really love to do. Maybe you become some kind of broker where you connect buyers and sellers. So anything that would have you connecting with people all day long might be the kind of offer that you want to do. And of course, you're going to use all of this information to really narrow it down so that you can get clear on what kind of service or offer you want to create. And the other thing I want to say about this too is trust your instincts. You don't need 12,000 people to validate what you want to create. Just get excited and get focused, right? The things that make you light up, that makes your heart sing, the things that get you hype when you're excited about an idea, that is enough. That is enough fuel to get going. Okay. You're just trying to get started here. We don't have to build the pyramids in Egypt overnight. Okay. We're just getting the first bricks laid. That's all we're doing here. Now in step 3, I want you to think about an ideal client. Think about a person who would benefit from the service or product that you just created in the last step, right? The one that you came up with. Maybe you didn't even create it yet, but who needs it, right? Who needs that service? For example, one of my clients is a dating coach. He is a Black gay man and happily married with adorable, beautiful children. And he is a dating coach specifically for women. And he guides women and coaches women as they're engaging in relationships through dating apps or in other ways, and gives them guidance to find their right partner. And he has matched so many of his clients with their person and watched so many weddings happen as a result. So he is the type of person that loves to be a connector, and he also loves to pour into people and help them understand their value and help them understand how to build relationships, how to be in relationship. And so that skill set has allowed him to take his skills and offer it for women who might want a male perspective on the way that they are approaching dating. So that is one example. So you are looking for an ideal client that will experience a transformation from your offer, that needs what your offer provides, that would be enjoyable for you to work with, and has the ability to pay you. Yes, that is a requirement. Remember, we're here to make money. So if the ideal client that you want to work with cannot afford to pay you, then that is not your ideal client. Your ideal client can afford to pay you. So make sure that you're choosing an ideal client that is willing and able to pay for your service or product. Now it's time to price your new offer. And dare I say, it's $1 million offer. So the way you're going to price your offer is based on value, not on time. So if you are helping someone with a web design and it would take you 5 hours to complete the design and you charge $50 an hour, that would be $250 for the website design, right? But let's say you get better and better at creating websites the longer you are a designer. Then it would only take you 2 hours maybe to do a website. And now you're making less money. You see how that works? If you charged hourly and only had to work 2 hours to complete the work, now you're only making $100. That doesn't make sense. When you get better at a certain thing, you should be paid more for it, not less. So hourly is not the way to go. You want to price based on value. What is the end result that your ideal client is going to get? What is that transformation they're going to experience from your service or product? And what is the value of that transformation to that person? That's what's going to help you understand how to price your services. Okay. So let's go back to the website design. The person who's hiring you doesn't care how long it's going to take you. Okay. They're not really thinking about the 5 hours you're going to work. They're thinking about, once I get this new website, I can launch my new thing into the world and I can share the work that I want to do with everyone. And it's going to enable me to make money as a business owner, right? So how much money? Well, the website can almost operate as a salesperson and bring in clients and help more people learn about the service or product that that person might offer, right? And so that has a significant amount of value. Think about it. If someone was running $1 million business and their website was responsible for bringing half of that money in, that's $500,000 of value. Are you going to charge $250 to bring in $500,000 of value to someone's business? I hope not. Think you could charge a lot more. How about $5,000, $10,000? I have actually paid as much as $50,000 for a new website for my business because that's how valuable it is to me. So if you understand the value, then you will understand that something is worth $50,000 instead of $250. Okay. Let me tell you, that lesson alone, you owe me money now. Okay. In step one, you've assessed your greatest asset, you. Okay. And then in step two, you've taken all that data from assessing yourself and discovered what the service or product that you would like to offer is. And then in step three, we figured out who is your ideal client. And in step four, we've come up with a price. Okay. Now we are ready to announce this offer to the world. Now we're ready to get out there and get some clients. So how are you going to go about doing this? Do you have to have a massive Instagram following? Do you have to have a YouTube channel with 1 million followers? Do you have to know the editor of Forbes and the CEO of Nike? No, you do not. All you have to do is reach out to the people you already know. You already know at least 100 people. 100 people know, like, and trust you. And while they may not be your ideal client, they may know who your ideal client is. They may have friends or neighbors or cousins who are your ideal clients. And so what you're going to do is create a list of 100 people you know, whether they are your neighbors, your aunties, your friends, your former classmates, your current coworkers, literally professors that you've worked with, everybody that you know that you can email them or get their contact information and reach out. Okay, so 100 people who already know who you are. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to write an announcement that says, hey, I've created this new product or this new service. Here's what it is. Here's how it can help. And here's who it's for. And you're going to be specific about the problem that it solves. That's what you're going to include in the announcement. And then you're going to make 2 asks. You're going to request 2 specific things. 1, you are going to ask them to hire you. You're going to say, if you need this product or you need this service, please hire me. I'd love to work with you and help you solve this problem, right? And then if you are not a person that needs this product or service, please go to option 2. And in option 2, what do we want them to do? We want them to share it. Please share it with someone who would benefit from my products or services. Okay, that's what you're going to ask. You're going to ask them to hire you, or you're going to ask them to share about your business with other people they might know. And that is how you're going to get your first few clients. Just your willingness. Remember, I said you're going to have to put your energy behind it, right? And you're going to have to take a little bit of a risk. It might feel a little uncomfortable, but announcing your product or service, announcing this new business that you're creating to the world, right? And your world being 100 people who know you, they are going to be supportive. Okay. Now there might be some people who are like, who do you think you are? And guess what? You take them off your list and you don't talk to them anymore about your business. And then you continue to focus on the people who are like, yay, that's so exciting. I actually do know someone. Okay. Why am I telling you to do this? Because this is literally how I started my business. Okay. It works. Now, the last step is step 6, where you get those clients after you do that announcement, and you might have 1, 2, or 3 couple clients come in, and you start working with those clients and start serving them, and it grows from there. Okay. That is how you get the party started. That is the blueprint for becoming a millionaire. And that is the step-by-step process where if you don't have resources, if you don't have a network, if you don't have cash in the bank, if you don't have the things that you think you need, if you don't have business knowledge or education, just following those steps is enough to start generating revenue for yourself. And it'll start out as a little, and then it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger as you keep going. So the questions that you need to ask are, what problem are you solving? Right? What problem are you solving with this skill set? So if you take me, for example, right? The problem that I'm solving with my strategic skills and with my public speaking skills is entrepreneurs who are struggling to build businesses, right? So I want you to think about, what problem am I solving? Okay, what specific problem am I actually solving? And it needs to be a specific problem. You cannot solve 70 problems. You cannot even solve 3 problems. I want you to solve 1 problem and 1 problem only. Okay. And the reason is, if you try to dabble and do a bunch of things, you're just going to do them all poorly, right? Focus is where the funds are at.
All right. So I need you to focus. You don't need to turn every skill set you have and every hobby you've ever had and everything that you've ever been drawn to into 50,000 different problems that you're solving. No, just choose one problem that you are going to solve. And then you have to ask, who am I solving this problem for? Right? So there's lots of people who need business strategy. There's new entrepreneurs who need business strategy. There are mid-sized companies that need business strategy. There are Fortune 500s that need business strategy, right? Where do I want to focus my time? I could also focus on entrepreneurs from specific industries like startups, right? Tech startups could be a place that I focus, or I could focus on service-based businesses or product-based businesses or retail businesses, right? And so you get to decide okay, who am I solving this problem for? There are a lot of people who need my services, but which one am I most excited about serving? Which one do I have experience serving? Which one do I have access to through my network, right? Or otherwise, that's what you want to think about. So again, you're solving one problem, right? What problem are you solving? One, only one. And then you're going to say, who am I solving this problem for, right? So one problem solved for one type of person, okay? That's it. One problem solved for one specific person, one specific ideal client that you're going to solve their problem, okay? And then the other thing that I would ask yourself just as a check on those two questions is, does this business already exist, right? Is there someone already doing this kind of work for this type of client, right? Is there someone already solving this kind of problem for this specific type of client? And let me tell you why you want to ask this question. Because if there is no one solving this problem for this particular client, likely this business is a bad idea. Okay. So if you don't see anyone else who is solving this kind of problem for this type of ideal client, likely it's a bad idea. All right. There's nothing new under the sun. Okay. So every business idea, I'm sure, has been tried once before. You don't necessarily want to reinvent the wheel or create something completely new. All right. Because that means it probably doesn't work. Somebody has probably tried it and failed, and that's why you don't see it existing. So let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's actually just do something that we have evidence that it works. We have evidence that this particular client is willing to pay to solve this particular problem. Okay. So use that as a check on yourself to say, does this exist in some capacity? And if it doesn't, then it's probably a bad idea. Okay. All right. Your step 3 is you're going to package it, right? You're going to package these monetizable skills, this problem that you're going to solve, and this ideal client into an offer. You got to create an offer. Now, here's the thing. If you think I have this talent, for example, if I was hey, I solve business problems, right? I'm a business strategist and a business coach, and I solve business problems. And you said to me, okay, great. Well, I have a problem. Can you help me? And I said, sure, I can help you. And then you might say, okay, well, how are you going to help me? And I don't have an answer. Well, what kind of help do you want? Right? Then you as the client are having to come up with a solution for how this help should come to you. You're not the expert. You're not the one to come up with what this should look like, right? So do not rely on your clients to tell you how you should show up and work. You need to package your services, package your work into a particular product or service that you're saying, here, buy this to solve this problem, okay? Don't do that thing where you're oh, well, I'll work however you want me to work, Or even, one of the things that a lot of people do is they create a custom proposal for every client. Well, let me tell you something. That is a very slow process. It takes a long time for you to create the proposal. And the whole time you're working on the proposal, that means you're not getting paid by this client. And the time you're working on the proposal means that they're shopping around to other people. And if somebody has a package that they could just buy right away, now they've beat you to it, right? And they got that client that you wanted. So don't do it that way. Instead, package your services and say, this is how I work with people. This is what I find works best. This is how we're going to solve your problem, right? You're going to join this program and we'll work together in this specific way, right? Or you're going to buy this package of services and we're going to do these kinds of things for you. So be very specific in how you decide you're going to work with clients. The other beautiful thing about that is you're not reinventing the wheel. Again, business needs to be systematic. That's how you make the money systematic. If you're reinventing things all the time, then it becomes too complicated. Okay. So I just want you to create one simple package. And so how are you going to do that? You want to turn it into an offer, and an offer that creates recurring revenue. Okay. Recurring revenue is your new best friend. If you are trying to replace your previous paycheck from your old day job, or you're trying to replace the current paycheck so you can quit this day job, you need recurring revenue. That means that you're not just getting paid once, but you're getting paid every month the same amount of money. So then you can rely on that money to know you can pay your rent and pay your other bills, okay? So I want you to think about like, okay, how can I take this skill, this problem that I'm solving, and this ideal client that I'm solving it for, and turn it into a package of services that they pay me for every single month? All right. Now, let me give you an example of this from my own life. So again, I started out as an attorney, right? I had my own law practice. And a law practice, it's the kind of thing where people come to you and they say, okay, here's my legal problem. Can you solve it for me? And then you get paid one time for that one thing. So if they're like, hey, I need a contract, or can you register my trademarks for me? Or I need an employment agreement, or I'm having this dispute with another business, right? And typically you get just paid once to solve that one problem. I didn't like that. I want to get paid every month. I don't want to just get paid once. So I came up with a new way to charge my clients and to know that I had regular recurring revenue, because I was a mom, I was the sole breadwinner for my family, and I needed this money to come in every single month, not just once, okay? And so here's how I did it. Instead of just selling them the trademark registration, or instead of just selling them a contract, I said, hey, you can buy this contract from me and it's going to cost X amount. Or you can pay a smaller amount, but you pay that every single month for the entire year. And I will not only take care of this contract, but I'll be your lawyer on call. So if anything comes up, you can message me anytime with any legal questions that you may have. And then it also will include these additional list of services. So basically everything that a new business owner needed to create that legal foundation for their business, from business registration to terms and conditions for their website, employment agreements, et cetera, there was like a package of services that I included, and then they paid me every single month. And so like my lowest, I had 3 package options depending on the size of the business. So the smallest one was $1,000 a month, and it included a certain amount of services. And then the next one was $2,500 a month, and it included a certain amount of services. And then the highest one was $4,000 a month, right, for larger businesses. And so that meant that people would come in and say, okay, instead of paying you $2,500 one time right now, I'm just going to pay you $1,000 a month or $2,500 a month, and then I'm going to get everything that I need over the next 12 months. And so it was the easiest sell ever, okay? Because people like paying for things on a monthly basis. That's how we tend to get paid, on a monthly basis. And so we like to pay our bills on a monthly basis. So it's attractive in that way. It's also like not just solving the entry level problem that they're coming to you with, but all the problems that you know are going to come after that as well. So that is one example of how I package my services into a monthly recurring situation instead of a one-time payment. And that was one of the best things ever. I had so many other lawyers, do the same thing because they were like, this is genius. And so I made really good money. I knew exactly how much was coming in every month. It allowed me to start hiring other team members. It allowed me to know exactly how much I was going to make every single month. And the payments came out automatically. So their card would just get charged on the first of the month, every month, and it was very reliable money. So I want you to think about, as you are considering the skill set that you have, how can you take that skill set and have it be something that generates recurring revenue where you're getting paid every single month instead of just one time? We've officially rescheduled ROI The Millionaire Summit 2025. Join me, Hello 7, and hundreds of your newest business besties in Huntington Beach, California from June 17th through the 19th for 3 days of high-impact, high-caliber fun. Let me tell you why ROI The Millionaire Summit is happening at the perfect time. June is the ultimate mid-year reset. It's your chance to pause, reflect, and redirect your energy for the months ahead. By the time the summer rolls around, you've had 6 months of wins, lessons, and challenges. That makes June the moment to evaluate what's working and ditch what's not, and pivot for even bigger success in the second half of the year. I'm so excited to invite you to ROI 2025 this summer to reconnect with your vision and take $1 million action with me. Come to dream bigger, move boldly, and reconnect with your purpose. So if you're ready to realign with your vision, sharpen your strategy, and set yourself up for massive wins, ROI is where you need to be. Head to hello7.co/ROI to grab your ticket. Now it's time to get these clients, okay? Because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like, okay, that all sounds lovely, Rachel, but where do the people who are going to pay me come from? Well, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you in the next minute, you're going to learn how to actually get some clients, okay? So there's 3 things we're going to go over in this section, right? To get your first clients. 1, using the network that you already have to get your first clients. 2, using market research as a strategy to get clients. And then 3, attending live events as a strategy to get clients. So let's unpack each one of those right now. All right. So to get your first clients, the first thing that I want you to do is to announce the offer to everyone you know. Okay. I want you to make a list of 50 to 100 people that already know, like, and trust you. 50 to 100 people that are in your network. This could be old professors. It could be old classmates, coworkers. It could be your neighbors, your aunties, your uncles, your cousins. Okay. Anybody that knows you, right? Friends, basically all the people that know you, that if they saw an email come through from you, they would know, okay, this is a person that I know personally. Okay. So I want you to create a list of at least 50 to 100 people that you're going to send an email to. And in that email, you are going to announce your business and you're going to recruit them to help you. So in this announcement, you're going to say, hey, here's my new business. Here's this offer that I am putting out there. This is the problem that I solve. This is who I solve it for. And this is how I solve it with the offer, right? And then you're going to say, I need you to do one of 2 things. I want you to either 1, hire me, okay? Buy this package to solve this problem if you are someone who has this problem, okay? And then 2, if this doesn't suit you, please share this package, right? Share this new business that I have with someone you know who could use my services. That's it. That's all you need to do. That one email is going to make you a ton of money. Now, I know you have all kinds of fear coming up because you don't want to tell everybody you're starting a business. You're scared of what are people going to say? What are they going to think of me? I want you to get some courage, get past the fear, and get this money, okay? The money is on the other side of the fear. So make sure you get the courage up, okay? So that you can get these first few clients. This is exactly what I did when I started my law practice, and I got 3 new clients from just that one email. And then I serviced those 3 clients, and those clients started referring me to other people. And before you know it, it got the ball rolling, and I started making regular, really good income in my law practice. Okay. So this is how it's done. That's just one way. There's another way that you're going to get clients. So number 2 is to do market research. All right. So what does that mean? Market research interviews. So you're going to reach out to people who fit your ideal client. So, if you have the particulars of the ideal client that you're serving, then you're going to find Facebook groups, Instagram accounts, find those places on the internet, communities where those ideal clients are hanging out. And then you're just going to go in there and you're going to post, hey, I'm doing some market research for a business that I am preparing to launch. And I'd love to talk to people who fit this specific profile and ask you a few questions. Okay. And in exchange, you can ask me some questions about this area of expertise. So if I'm going to use the example of my law practice, I would just go into Facebook groups that have a bunch of business owners who might have legal questions. And then I say, hey, I'm doing market research for my new law practice that I'm about to launch. And I'd love to talk to business owners who have been in business for 2 to 5 years, who have some legal issues that they need to resolve. And I just want to ask you a few questions. And in exchange, you can also ask me any legal question you want during the call. And the call will only take 20 minutes. And then you send them a calendar link and let them sign up. All right. Now you do this with 5, 10, 15, 20 people. And a few of them will say, you know what? I'd love to work with you. Right. And so that's how you can meet a few people who now know about your expertise, and some of them might be ready to hire you. So this is another great way to get hired that my clients have used and works like gangbusters. Okay. Now, the last way, and I want you to do all 3. Okay. But the last way that you're going to get those first few clients is I want you to attend live events. what are those live events that your ideal clients are attending? Okay. So for me, as a new lawyer that is working with business owners, I would go to local meetups, maybe some conferences, workshops for business owners. Find local organizations where your clients might be hanging out, right? Or events where your clients might be hanging out. And I want you to go. Buy a ticket if you have to and get yourself there. You know why? It is way easier to get a new client offline than it is to get a new client online. Okay. Online, we have a plethora of options. We have so much information coming at us, and it's hard to know who is, scary and who is not. Okay. And so because of that, it's just harder to build trust in a digital environment. Whereas when you are in person, it is way easier to build trust when you're sitting next to someone that appears to be cool, right? You get their expertise. You get to take in a whole bunch more information about a person when you experience them in person versus online. So I want you to go to some local events and just talk to people. Just say hi, network, sit next to people, talk to them about the sessions that you're attending and experiencing. Take the opportunity to introduce yourself, and naturally you will meet some people who could make good potential clients. And even if they can't, they could be good referral sources for you. So your step 3 is to get out of the house and go meet some people. Okay. So that is the process. That is my 4-step process for how you are going to monetize your skills in 2025. First, you're going to figure out what your skills actually are. And then you're going to figure out, how do I want to use those skills? Like, who do I want to use those skills to help? And so you're going to identify your ideal client and the problem that you want to solve for them. And then 3, you're going to package that into an offer. And then 4, you're going to market that offer and get those first few clients. This is how you get the party started, my friends. This is what I did to start my business and what so many of my clients have done to successfully start their businesses and start to replace that income from their day job. Okay. Now it's going to take some courage. You may be a little fearful, but you know what? Everything that we want is on the other side of that fear. So you're just going to have to get over it. Okay. Get the courage up. You only need 5 seconds of courage. Okay. To go out there and put yourself out there and make this happen. But I promise you, if you follow these steps and really go for it, you are going to find success. So I hope this episode has helped you. I hope you are excited to go work on monetizing your skills. I want to hear about some of the skills that you have, so drop them in the comments, okay? And I'm going to read these comments and see what kind of skills are you planning to monetize this year in 2025. All right, well, that's what I have for you today, my friends. I will see you on the next episode.
You want to make more money? You are in the right place. Welcome to the Hello 7 podcast. That's 7 as in 7 figures. I'm your host, Rachel Rodgers.